I'm the king of the game.
Hello, welcome to tutorial for DayZReSkin Part 2. And this is what we'll be going over today. How to use and set up the DayZReSkin itself. Now before I go into this, I do want to just inform you that this is like the 8th time I've had to redo this video due to either recording issues, it crashing or erroring or something going on with the recording system. My throat's a bit sore by now. I'll do my best to keep it together. And before I get into it, I do have some suggestions. Now, this is what I think you should do with any tutorial video you follow, or else I don't think you're gonna really get as much out of it as you can. Now, that is ensure you follow the tutorial closely, of course. Deviating slightly can come out with some way different outcomes. Ensure you pause so you can follow along better. If you're getting lost, go back to where you were, where you know you were, pause it, make sure you're up to date, and then resume. I start to get too fast, pause it. Catch up, resume. Just make sure you're following along and doing it as I'm doing it in the video. This is the best way to learn from a YouTube video tutorial. Alright, now as we get into it, the first thing we're going to do is have a quick refresh from where we left off in the Part 1 tutorial. Now this includes some folder structure layout that wasn't actually included in the Part 1 video, but I think is very much needed and necessary for organization and better use out of this. And then we'll be going into setting up DayZ reskins for simple reskins of just five textures, and you'll be able to do some simple things like change its brightness, its contrast at that point. It's just simple retexture at that point. You can change the blending modes. Top of my head, I'm pretty tired right now. I think there was 10, 8 or something like that blending modes. And then after that, we will move on to introducing text and images / icons to those 5 textures we're done. We're not going to process those textures before we do the icons, so that way I can actually show you the icons and everything too. Once we do everything, then we will set up the options to generate scripts and pack into mod PBO mod, and it'll be ready to go straight into your server. Now, with that, you'll be able to test it straight away, which I'm going to do straight away after this. I'm going to put it straight into DayZ Editor and show you them working straight away. As soon as I'm finished doing it, now we're doing 2 textures, and that's the ghillie suit and the t-shirt. So let's get straight into it. Now, when you load this up, you're going to get the login panel. I should also let you know my computer is running extremely hot right now. I'm in a really hot room to try and keep some of this noise out, and it's starting to get a bit out of date. The computer needs a good upgrade, so just bear with me if it gets a bit sticky and gets stuck in some places. It's not its finest hour. Alright. Now, with your login, you will get an automatic email with your login username and your password roughly 5 to 10 minutes after becoming a Patreon member on my Drew's Tools Patreon page. If it does take any longer than that, please let me know. We'll fix that up for you immediately. I'm still setting up everything. Everything's still in basically like a beta stage. Everything seems to be working pretty good, but just in case there is any issues, don't be shy to say something, because there could definitely be an issue. Yeah, log in. Once you've logged in, to set up this simple reskin is pretty simple. You just want to go to select a template, find your templates. We're going ghillie first. Alright, from here you can select your textures that you want to put over it. So the way this works is you're not just selecting individual textures out of a group of textures or just a couple of textures. You're selecting a folder of textures. So I've got all my textures that I want to retexture the template with in this folder. So I just select textures, select folder, then it's selected. If you go down, you can see the textures already there. You can switch between, have a quick look. Now this is just a normal blending mode. It's just slapping that texture straight over the top. It's not trying to care for the detail in the actual image. So what we want to do is, before we go any further with that, once you actually select the texture folder, it will pop up this button, scan for duplicates. Now this will just ensure that no duplicate images are going to be processed through this. They scan for the hash code, so the hash in the image. When if it detects that, it won't actually delete them in case it's making a mistake and there is something else going on there. Just as a safe measure, it just excludes them from being used in the process that we're about to put the other images through. So if you click scan and there are some that come up and you remove them, you may get some sort of like grayish or whitish boxes down here. They are just the duplicate images that have been removed. Don't worry about them. It's just, yeah, they're nothing. It's just to show they were duplicates and where they were in the order. So then we go to select output folder. So this is where we're going to have our image, our mod and everything go to in the end. So if we go to our mod folder and our ghillie suits where I was talking about, and we select that one. Now I don't want to use normal for the texture, of course. I don't like the look of that at all. So I'm going to use multiply, as I've set this up for multiply with the black and white, with the white being more prominent. Gives it this sort of look. If it came out a bit more white, it probably actually would come out with a bit more detail. I might update the program for that later on down the track too on its next update. I'll probably be updating it within the next couple weeks. So you can use other modes. These are more for darker modes, like screens, more for like if that was a darker texture, it would work a lot better. But the light white's coming through too much. Then you go like overlay. This, especially the light one, barely show a thing. Too bright. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm just going to give you an idea of what they look like. This gives you like a 90% overlay. But the white still comes through it pretty good. This is why multiply and hard light are probably best for the lighter colors. They come out a lot more better for the color overlay with the detail and everything. You may need to have changed the brightness and the contrast to get it to where you want to get to, though, with the texture you're using, of course, and the blending mode you're using. For example, with multiply, you might want to increase that brightness, but I like mine to be nice and dark, as I don't like my ghillies, especially if I'm trying to make them more sneaky like. I don't want them to stand out like bright hay going fluoro ghillies, so I like to make them a bit darker. Once you've done that, then we come down to the base name. This is where we're going to name our class names. It's going to be the base class name and the extended class names as well. All you need to do is add in what you want it to be tagged as, and it will handle adding extra on the end of it to make sure it doesn't override anything or there's no duplications of it, and there are always an extra texture for each class. So the way that works is I put in, let's say, MM for mutated mods, ghillie suit. Now, I put it in just like that. I don't want to put anything else in. That's my tag sort of thing for this reskin. And what it will do after I do that, it'll add, well, especially when it comes to the scripting, it'll add a underscore base to it for our base class. And then every retexture afterwards, it will add a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc., etc. You only go up to 5 for mine because I only got 5 textures, but you get the point. We want ghillie underscore ghillie suit for this, and then we just go straight blend to template. Now that is technically a simple reskin done, to the point where you still need to get it ready to go into DayZ, but I mean like the texture itself is ready to be implemented into DayZ. Once again, I apologize. Computer's really sluggish right now. This usually is really quick. I was actually amazed when my friend did it. Come on. So when we finish this, it will automatically reset it to back to the default setting as I had it, so that way we can continue on making new reskins as we go. There we go. Now I apologize for it really doesn't take that long, it's just my computer. So now we can go down to the text options where we can go we add in tutorial, go color, and we'll set a font. Now with the font, these are all demo fonts. We'll be adding a lot more to it as we go. So for now, I'm just gonna stick with Bullpen. It's a nice bold one, good for the demo. Then I can change the texture size. Now you won't be able to see it until it gets put in, but once it gets put in, then you'll be able to adjust it while seeing it. So you don't need to worry too much about the size when it gets put into it. It's just afterwards you can adjust it to however you want. But 75 is usually a pretty good number for most textures, but others you will need to adjust. So just keep that in mind. We change the color, we change the font, and we change the size. So this section here is for adding text, and this section here is for updating text. It's pretty clear. Update, selected font text size. So what this means is we add in this for adding text, then we've set it all up, set the font, we've set the size, the text, the color, add text. Now we can go in and we can select the text, we can drag it around wherever you want. I'm going to put it over here on the chest ghillie piece, and then we're going to hold Alt and scroll the mouse to rotate. Unfortunately, we can only rotate it one way at the moment. I will be trying to introduce an update on the next update that will allow you to rotate both ways. But with with most ghillies, nearly all clothes, not ghillies, nearly all clothes, it's slanted a bit because the player character is a little bit slantish. It's not just a beautiful flat canvas to ride on, and it's pretty slanted. So you need to slant the words and sometimes the images and the icons to make them fit better and look better. So sometimes you just keep that in mind. Now we want to add, actually before we get into that, we want to change the size of that text. Let's put that up to 200 just for an example, 250. Boom, live update for you. So it's pretty easy to keep track of everything. Now we want to add image and image/icon. So icon. There we go. Alright, and we can rotate, shrink, and increase the size. Now the way we do that is by holding Control and scrolling the mouse. Will allow you to change the size. While Alt and scrolling the mouse allows you to rotate still. So there's no difference with the rotation between the text and image, just the size. The way to resize it is different. You size it through the texture over here, and you resize the image using holding Control and your mouse wheel. Now, with a lot of transparent textures, you need to make sure that the images are clipping and masking over the texture correctly. For example, when you use a ghillie suit, most of this is transparent. There's gaps in between, there's cutouts, there's bits and pieces everywhere. Actually, a good chunk of it is transparent. There's a chunk of the image down here that's actually transparent that doesn't even get used. So what you got to keep in mind is when you place text and images over the actual template, there could be gaps and holes underneath it. Just be careful, because if you don't want holes in your image, don't place them over holes, because it will put holes through your image. It's designed to keep the image flush. With transparency, it's sometimes very much needed, nearly all the time, very much needed, as it will make the actual whole suit, for example, semi-transparent or transparent, or just really weird, doing some weird stuff. So you just gotta keep that in mind. If you don't want it to have holes in it, don't put it over holes. Alright, now we got that sorted. We gonna set that in. Alright, now you can check over the other images, though it's the same image, just different textures. See if it's all good, and then come down here. If I wanted to, let's say, have a different text on this one and a different image on this one to this one, I can select this one, set up what I want, and then come over here and apply to current texture. And it will just apply it to whatever I have selected. Now I can then select another one and set up what I want, and then apply current texture. So then it has its own, so you can set up separate individual special ones however you want. Or if you're doing a shit ton of textures, you can just apply to all textures, which we're going to do right now, just to be quick. There we go. Alright. Alright, now that that is done, we can then move on to setting this up to convert to PAA, generate scripts, and pack into a PBO or a mod ready to go into your server. So first of all, we could just straight away pack it into a PAA, just like that. PAA's done, converted, no problem. But then you'll have to generate the scripts and everything like that yourself, whatnot. If you aren't good at generating scripts, you're new to this and you don't know what you're doing, we can just click generate scripts, pack into PBO, and it'll do it all automatically for you. But if you want to do some of the stages yourself, you can do some of the stages yourself. Just understand that these do work in stages. If you want to convert to PAA, you can without a problem. If you want to generate scripts, you need to convert to PAA as well, because it's generating the scripts off those PAAs. If you want to pack into a PBO, you need to generate the scripts, because it won't be able to pack into a PBO without the scripts. So it works on stages. So we're going to select all three of them. I'm going to go over to options. Now here, this is where the information from earlier comes in handy. But before we get into that, I've just got a little bit of information. This first one here, extra script generation options, don't worry about it. This is for a future update. And so is enter options for packing into PBO. Future update, don't worry about it. For now, the only things you can use and that you need to worry about is if you want to use a dependent mod. This is if you want to reskin another mod. You would need to add that mod in here so that you can reskin it. We're not doing that, so we don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to call this... so when we make our first mod, and we're going to make like a bunch of different textures, let's say shirts, pants, gloves, whatever. The first one you make out of it, make it the pack for them. So we're going to call this mutated ghillie pack. This is just to help you in the future. You don't have to do it this way, I just recommend it. And then we want to get our parent class. Now that is the information that we got from part 1. Ghillie suit color base. So you just copy that, and then we want to paste that in here. Alright, no spaces at the end there. Alright, and then we want to add in the hidden selections. which are these right here. Now we need to make sure they're exactly in that order and laid out exactly the same. If there's a capital in there, put it exactly where it's supposed to be. Lowercase, put them exactly where they're supposed to be. Need to be in that order. Camo ground, camo 1. So go down to here, we go camo ground, camo 1. Alright, now we want to go down, these are ghillies, so we want to go clothing instead of tools with the type categories, so you get an option of what goes what. Keep in mind that these are for vehicle only for the loot dispatch. You got containers for things that hold stuff, you got clothes, food, that covers drinks as well. You got weapons, tools, and explosives. We're looking for clothes. We don't want it spawning on a shelf, we want it to spawn on the floor. There's only 2 options there, so just go floor. Now, type usage. This is where you want it to spawn. This is your main spawn one. Well, military. Now, if you want to add extra areas, you can. Let's say I wanted to spawn at a farm as well. Farm or down, wherever. This is chucked it in there for an example. Now, then you can add into tiers. You don't have to add these in. You can leave these empty if you want. Doesn't matter. But you can add in the tiers. Tier 1. So it only spawns in a tier 1 area, tier 1 and tier 4, or none, or tier 2, tier 3, whatever you want to put in there. We'll just put in tier 1, tier 4. And we'll put in farm town. Alright, now we go down to PBO options. Now, like I said, don't worry about this top line here. It's nothing, anything you put in here, it's not going to do anything. It might actually cause errors. So don't put anything in there, it shouldn't do anything technically. But we want to go down to PBO signing options. This is what we want to look at. So in here you got use existing key or create new key. If you have an existing key, just go existing key and then locate it through browse. If you're creating a new key, that's very simple to do. If you haven't done this before, just type in whatever you want. Like, for example, mutated. That'll be what I use. I used to use Durkasun a lot. It used to be for all my mods. You could use anything you want, honestly. Doesn't matter. As long as it's not stick to English, stick to A to Z, 0 to 9. Try and stick to the basic numbers and letters. Don't overcomplicate it. I'm going to use an existing key for this one. Oops. Browse key, and then I want to get that key. So you want your private key and your buyer key. Okay. Now this is ready to go now. Literally, all we're going to do is pack it, and it's ready to go. And then I'm going to quickly punch through the t-shirt. I'm not going to go as slow with the t-shirt just so I can get it done quickly and tested for you. So I don't want this video to drag out too much longer. Alright, so pack into mod and let it do its thing. Once it's done, it will reset, ready to go again. There is 2 stops in this just to guarantee and show that everything's working properly. This is for my future help and your help benefits. These are all little like checkpoints, so if anything goes wrong within these checkpoints, hopefully we can nail them down easier and I can put in a fix quicker and help is easier. So there are a few notification pop-ups messages that are going to happen, and I do apologize, but it is for everyone's benefit until I have definitely smoothed out all the kinks in the program, which will be in probably the next update or the update after that. Alright, so all images converted and XML and config.cpp generated successfully. Yeah, I don't know why it's, yeah, don't worry about that. It generates the XML here. I don't know why it said it done it, and I need to fix that. That's no big drama. Alright, so it's generating XML files and your and packing it all into a mod for you, getting it ready to go. Usually this would happen almost instantly. It's just my computer's quite slow. Sometimes it does happen instantly for me. Alrighty. So everything's all packed and ready to go. All images converted and packed into a PBO successfully. XML file has been generated successfully. Alrighty. So now that is all good to go. As you can see, it's reset it back to default. So now we can go straight to. Actually, before I go into that, I'll quickly show you. Everything's here, ready to go. Now, before I go into that any further, I'm just going to quickly set up the t-shirt. So I'll do this quickly. I'll still explain things, but it's going to be at a much faster pace. I'm sorry. Alrighty, wrong one. What am I looking for again? Template. Alright, t-shirt. Alright, sure. Textures, were already selected. Let's just be sure about that. Now we want to change the output. We want to go to t-shirts. Alright, and I want to go multiply. And we got the multiply look. Change that how you want. I'm just going to keep it how it is. Now I want to change this to MM T-shirt. Blend template. Alright, that's done. Test. All set, add text. Oh, I passed it. We'll fix that on the next update. I'm not going to worry about it. Image, just apply. Alright, and then we can set this up to pack. And mutate t-shirts. As I said, only the first one will worry about the pack name. Now remember, I got the parent name in here, along with its hidden selections. Alrighty, and then we want to make that close again on the floor, and village. Sounds good. Then we could go town as well. Farm, why not? And yeah, military as well. It's military clothes. Military. Alrighty, and then we could add, just leave it blank so it goes everywhere. Then we want to go down to the key. We want to go existing. Then we want to go to the key. Down to okay. Now that's ready to go. Once again, pack. As you see, once you know what you're doing, you can push this stuff through pretty quickly and get stuff going. So, with the right computer, of course. Alright. Now that that's done, that actually happened quicker than the last one, thankfully. We are ready to test. That's all good to go. We can close down DayZReSkin, and we can see what we have done. So this is the ghillie suits ready to go. These are the PNGs, the leftover sort of leftover textures that haven't been converted into PEAs and put into the mod. These are just sort of like a backup texture for you to keep track of things. Now, you got your type files ready to go, just how we set them up. Beautiful. Do have a 5 default. You can change that if you want. It's very easy to do. Just come in here, highlight the lot, and press Control H. Then you can go up the top here, press Control C for Charlie, and then Control V for Vector. And then you can change that to 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to change it to, 100, and then go over here and go Replace All. Or whatever program you have, it'll have a Replace All button. And just replace them all, and then boom. Easy done. Alrighty. So then we can close that off. Don't need that anymore. Shut that down. And then if you wanted to, you can go in and have a look at your mod folder. Has its source folder. Got its textures, got the config as well. Alrighty, and then if we go back here, we got a key backup folder. Now if you had created a key, this is where it would get put. You would get your backup keys put in here. So that way you keep track of your keys. Though you only really want to ever use one key, don't get them confused, because then your mods won't work together unless you have, like, yeah. Try just use the one key. Don't share your private key. Keep your private key with you at all time. Don't ever put it in your mod. Only your buy key. As you can see, I got my signed key, buy sign, that goes in with the mod automatically, and you get your normal buy key. Now that goes in your mod. That's normal. You can come in here and have a look at this, see if everything's packed right, which it should be. Yep, everything's good. Alright, so from there, this is going to be the pack, the ghillie pack. So what I want to do is I want to go back to ghillie shirts. I'm not going to go through everything because it's exactly the same setup for this one. I'm going to go into the mod folder for this one, go into the add-ons. Then I want to select these two. I want to copy. I want to go back to mod folder. I want to go back into ghillie suits, into mutated ghillie pack. Back in the add-ons, then I want to add these in here. Now adding these in here, we'll just add them in as like a repack. So that way you can have as many as you want in here, and it adds up as one mod. Mutated ghillie pack. Now, like I said, we're going to test it. Hopefully my computer can withstand everything that's going on right now. Alright, so easy way to test this is through DayZ editor. Very simple. Very, very simple. If you haven't got DayZ editor, go download it. You'll need Dabs framework, CF, and you don't need it, but I recommend an admin tool. Doesn't matter which one you use. But now you will need to get your mod. So you need to go up the top here where it says local mod. Click on that. It'll open up a browser. Now you need to go find that ghillie pack that we have. So I'll need to go down to, yeah, that one. I need to go to mod folder, ghillie suits, and mutated ghillie pack. You can just click on it or enter it, either one. Just select folder. Once you've done that, load mod. I should be able to still play this even though I'm downloading. Yep, sweet. And Bob's your uncle. Here we go. Now, hopefully I haven't made a fool of myself and this works perfectly. Here we go. Alright. That seems to happen every time I start this up. Anyway, so we got private objects. then we want to search up what we're looking for. So mm_, there we go. We got ghillie suits, we got our base class, which aren't stuff we select, just the extended classes afterwards, the 1 to 5. So you can see we got ghillies. Textures are working nicely. Put a couple down to have a look at. Go down the shirts. Textures working nicely. Put down a couple to have a look at. So yeah, computer's a bit slow. Liking that texture. Come on. There it goes. Alright. There we are. Now, once you're in here, to move around, you press space so you can get your mouse or move around your screen. Tab to close your interface. Y to shut your interface down completely. WS and all that to move around. And to get to your character, you press the home button. It's pretty much just like DayZ once you get in here. So there's the ghillie suit. Now with the ghillie suit, it uses the same piece all over it, so that's why the same piece is thrown all over it. So images and text are not a good idea for ghillie suits. But this is just a demonstration of what you could do. Like, I knew it was going to do this. I thought it's a pretty cool little demonstration. Flings it all over the place, but that's the little piece that I put it on, as you can see. Alright, now we get the shirt. Where's the shirts at? Over here. Let's chuck the shirt on there. Alright, fits in well underneath that. And then we take the ghillie off to have a look at the shirt. Yeah, it's not too bad. Some of the textures won't line up perfectly, as this is not a precision way to reskin your textures. If you want to do a precision way to reskin your textures, it will take longer. This is a quick and easy and efficient way for people who don't know how to reskin. So, yeah, you can get as fancy as you want, and as much as you can try to anyway. Yeah, that's it really. I think I've covered everything. Hope you've enjoyed my tutorial. I hope you enjoy my program. I hope it brings you lots of fun and good use. Yeah.
I'm the king of the game. Nothing can phase